Kia ora guys, Richard Liu here, editor at NZ Entrepreneur Magazine. Once again, we're celebrating Global Entrepreneurship Week, and as part of that, we're talking to awesome people out there working right across the country, helping entrepreneurs and innovators bring their magnificent ideas and creations to life. One of those organisations is the Nelson Regional Development Agency. We're talking to Sarah Fitchett today, and Sarah is the Innovation Programs Lead for Nrda. She's joining us from Nelson, as I said, up at the other end of the island. Sarah, thank you so much for taking time to talk to us.
Kia ora, thank you for having me.
Awesome. So really looking forward to finding out a bit more about the work you guys do up there. I guess, can we start with just by maybe you explaining a little bit about what the Nrda does and, you know, some of the goals for your organisation?
Yeah, so the Nrda is the Economic Development Agency for Nelson, Tasman. We're a council-controlled organisation owned by the Nelson City Council, and we work closely and are funded partly also by the Tasman District Council. So, you know, there's close relationships between those three. In terms of high-level goals, in 2019, there was a collaboration led by the Wakatū Corporation, which worked on developing a strategy for the region, Te Tauihu intergenerational strategy, which took a much longer term view than traditional strategies that are developed in government. And it had a sort of 500-year, really ambitious 500-year outlook. And the real key challenge that came out of that was tupuna pono, to be good ancestors. And so that kind of challenge and vision really underpins what we do at Nrda. That kind of talks to our why. So why do we want to, support innovation and entrepreneurship in our region? We know that innovation drives higher value jobs, improves the types of jobs. They're more fulfilling for people. They can really tackle key challenges that are concerning people around climate change, sustainability, and it helps our industries and sectors be more competitive on the world stage. So that builds resilience for our region as well. But it also, as well as the why, that challenge speaks to the how. So we're wanting to hero those businesses and industries that are innovating to become more sustainable, more circular, carbon neutral, positive, adopting technologies to tackle labour shortages and changing workforce. And that might be the core business, what they do, but it also just might be how they do it. So, you know, we're really looking to work with those leaders who are on the journey already, and they help inspire businesses to get on board as well. So that's sort of the thing that underpins our goals at the moment. Awesome.
I mean, a 500-year vision like that, I haven't heard of anything like that in terms of, you know, New Zealand sort of organisations so far that we've spoken to. That's, yeah, wow. Can you just tell us a bit about your role there, so as Innovation Programs Lead, and how does that tie in with those sort of overarching goals we just mentioned there?
Yeah, sure. So it's quite a new role, and I'm still learning and developing it, to be honest. But it does cut across lots of the other areas of work that we've traditionally done and are still doing. It's about looking at sectors, our key sectors, and what work we can do to help accelerate those sectors and build collaborations, because we know as an organisation we can't do it on our own. And often businesses, when you're busy doing the work, you often don't have time to look up and see who else is doing the same sorts of things or who might have share the same challenges. So we sort of see in our organisation that we have a role in connecting those dots, and might be one example is if there's a shared challenge, can we bring in some expertise that can help multiple businesses address that challenge? So that's loosely, what the role is directed at. And then more specifically, I'm working currently on, I know we're going to get to that, but I'm working on startup programs that last year supported the food and beverage sector, and in future will support other specific sectors. And there's sort of, a range of specific activities that go underneath that overarching goal.
Right. So the types of people you're working with on a day-to-day basis, for example, is that at a specific age of the business? Are they in specific industries, or is it more across the board?
Across the board, because the different programs that I'm working on are targeted at different stages. So last year we worked with startups through our Co-Starters program. And then this year we're piloting a program in partnership with Creative HQ, which is more focused on businesses who are already well established, employing people, exporting, supporting other key sectors to try and help build innovation capability in the business. And I think that's a real challenging area for EDAs is how do you help the businesses who are already doing it? Because those are the businesses that are driving our economy currently and who are going to be the leaders in growth and the leaders in the changing the way that we do business, becoming more sustainable because they've got the resource behind them. And so it's hard to find out what else we can do to actually help those businesses. So that's kind of what I'm working on in terms of this innovation capability building program, see whether that is something that we can help that maybe businesses can't necessarily bring in on their own.
Yeah, it's an interesting balance, isn't it? Because like you say, if we think about the business life cycle, first there is no business. There's just a person with maybe a mad idea or some problem they really want to solve, and of course that that gestation period from the time they actually get going to actually having a business, which is now maybe employing 20, 30, 40, hundreds of people, maybe that can be years and years. So it's what are your feelings on that trying to strike that balance between serving what exists now while growing the pipeline for the future?
Yeah, well, we want to do both, right? As probably everyone does. I think that's where this new, if I'm honest, it's hard to find. I don't know where the balance is, because we want both, and it's not up to us sort of to pick the winners. So we need a range of programs that's going to suit a range of business life cycles. In terms of startups, we're doing Co-Starters, which has traditionally been a startup program, but is really starting to look at, can we help those businesses that are 1 or 2 years in and have they've got a market, but they understand what their problems are now. Because it's a cohort model of 10 to 15 businesses involved in each cohort, if you get a mixture of those startups who haven't yet launched and some of those who have been operating for a couple of years, that cross-pollination between those different stages is really, really powerful and valuable. And those groups of businesses can then carry on supporting each other even after the program is finished, and they make connections, people, suppliers, people to help with marketing, all those sorts of things. It's really, that magic kind of happens when those businesses at different stages are brought together.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because as business founders, we can take, there's a lot of learning to be had if only we're prepared to ask and share. And I guess that's potentially one of those key roles that organisations like yours play, which is just helping facilitate that interaction, and that bumping up of different people from the ecosystem against each other, and hopefully they can go on and support themselves.
Yeah, definitely. I think my experience in this role so far is and on top, as well as my Nrda role, I manage a co-working space called Mahitahi CoLab, which is a collaboration between Nrda, Nelson Tasman Chamber of Commerce, and Nelson Marlborough Institute of Technology, Polytech, NMIT. So that's a collaboration in itself. But what I notice about the CoLab and Co-Starters, which is run under the CoLab banner, is that there's such a willingness to share and collaborate, but it is about putting people in the same room and letting people talk and share problems, but then they also share solutions. And you have that sometimes. I think theoretically you think, these guys are all competing with each other and they don't want to share their IP or share what they've learned so far, but actually I just have not seen that sort of closed-mindedness at all in Nelson. And there's lots of really awesome examples of collaboration that are driving economic development all around the place. So yeah, it's exciting.
And this year we've seen some pretty cool stories coming out of your region, as people be able to see in this year's Innovation Nation series. Can you give us a bit of an overview of what's the general sort of flavour of business up there? Like, traditionally, for example, what have been sort of the mainstays of the area, and are there any sort of emerging industries or verticals or opportunities that you as a region have identified, or the people are interested in working on?
Yeah, sure. So traditionally, our key sectors have been agriculture, horticulture, food and beverage, forestry, wood processing, and research, science and technology, because we have Cawthron Institute based in Nelson. But some of our emerging sectors are the knowledge economy, Māori economy, green economy, and the creatives. And we, of course, want to focus on all of those areas to try and make sure that we're making the most of the opportunities that are arising in that early stage and supporting the new businesses that are coming out of those. Really, there's lots of cool examples, and I don't want to sort of miss anyone. It's difficult. But a new business that actually is co-located with us in the Mahitahi CoLab is the Nelson AI Institute. They've spun out a business called Carbon Crop this year, which is that helps farmers and landowners identify areas, smaller forestry blocks, and use carbon credits to then incentivize people to plant trees to help solve, this huge problem that we have of around climate change. So that's super exciting. We've got they grow every time I look up, there's a new developer, new AI developer in their team. So they're bringing in amazing, clever people into Nelson. It's really exciting to be working alongside them and see their growth, which has been happening really fast. I'm a bit worried they might run out of room and move out, but it's really cool.
Awesome, great. So once again, we've had a strange old year, 2021. Can't believe it's nearly out the door. With the challenges, obviously, as we all know about, disruptions and so on and so forth, due to the continuing sort of remnants of the COVID pandemic. But if we were to think about, I guess, if you were to reflect on the year in innovation up your way and around the work your organisation's done, are there any sort of standout, highlights or things that you can look back on and say, yeah, that was really good. We did well.
Yeah, so I think there's sort of two parts to that for us. For the Nelson Regional Development Agency, there were lots of different programs that we ran and campaigns, and it's been a busy year, as it has been for everyone. But the thing that underpinned that, alongside the sort of vision of being good ancestors, is obviously what we come back to all the time. But there was a collaboration that was launched in 2020 called Project Kokore, and that was a collaboration between Nrda, led by Nrda, Chamber of Commerce, our two councils, regionally based government reps, business, and our iwi. And the idea was to come up with a regional response to COVID-19, and that's evolved now to a regeneration plan for the region, which has got a 5 to 10 year outlook, trying to connect the dots between intergenerational strategy and the here and now. And that it was recognised at the Economic Development New Zealand Awards as the collaboration in the collaboration category. So that was as a winner. So that was really exciting for the team, and recognition for the leadership team involved in that, who put in so many hours to get that off the ground. So of course it's nice for people involved in that to have that recognition. But in a wider sense for the region, I just think, given the complexity of the environment that we have at the moment, that we're facing at the moment, you know, supply chain disruption, labor shortages, operational changes in terms of social distancing, lockdowns, everything, and just the sheer fatigue of COVID that I think everyone feels. It's kind of amazing that everyone you talk to is still thinking longer term. They're still investing in innovation. They're still thinking about how they can become more sustainable. And some of the stories that will come out as part of Innovation Nation will showcase that. And you sort of think it would be so easy to go to ground and think, I just need to deal with today. But across the board, that's not the case. And I'm just kind of in awe of people to be able to have the mind space to do both. You know, it's really amazing.
It's fantastic. Now, looking ahead to next year, hopefully a much more straightforward one for us all.
Last year.
That's right. That's right. Exactly. Any sort of what have we got to look forward to from you in terms of, I don't know, maybe exciting projects or new initiatives? So
one thing I didn't mention actually, which was something that was launched this year, but which will be a focus next year also, is an event called the Intelligent Guardians. And that was a showcase event talking to local business leaders about how they are implementing sustainability and you know, being good ancestors in their business. And so that's something that will be a big focus for next year, running a second follow-up event to that and building on it. That was part of Tech Week this year for us. And that's one of the current key themes of our project called the Regeneration Plan. So the Intelligent Guardians as a concept is going to be a big thing for us going forward. So that's exciting. In my work stream personally, building on our innovation capability building that we did with Creative HQ. So looking at how we design that and grow it going forward, offer it to more businesses if we can, and hopefully getting youth involved as well, something that I'm quite excited about, that prospect of providing innovation training for future leaders as low as high school level if possible. So that's sort of on the horizon. We've got a co-starters IT cohort in planning stage, and a co-starters food and beverage cohort, another one of them in the plan for next year. And yeah, there's lots of other profiling and you know, promotion work that the team does on top of that, of course, as well.
Well, it sounds like an exciting time to be an entrepreneur up there. You know, a lot of opportunities to really dig their teeth in and you know, get some great support. So yeah, sounds good. Well, look, Sarah, thank you so much for talking to us. It's been a pleasure. And are there any final words you might like to leave people watching this with, entrepreneurs or even local innovators?
I think just, you know, keep doing it, because it's just, as I said, it's really incredible the work that's going on. We've had I had in my written notes, I had a list of businesses that have been nominated or won awards locally, or national awards, local businesses who've won national awards this year. And so I think just be encouraged by the example set by the businesses that are already doing it, leading, and you know, and just keep on innovating, because it's what's going to drive us forward and solve big problems, you know, for the world. And it's exciting to be a tiny part of that, and to at least be able to see it. You know, it's really cool.
You're doing great work up there. Once again, thank you so much. That was Sarah Fitchett, Innovation Programs Lead at Nelson Regional Development Agency. Sorry, I'm starting to lose it. Thanks once again, Sarah.
Thank you.